Hello YouTube, it's Mike Mayashiro here. Welcome to Increasing Our Spiritual Intelligence. So last week we talked about this fourth dimension, the spirit world, right? And being influenced by spirits in our thoughts and our emotions and our relationships, kind of. We're going to get into that more, but I wanted to take today and talk about the gift of discernment briefly. We're not going to get into that hugely here, but there are a couple of ways that discernment manifests in people's lives. The gift of discernment is a gift from God for people to be able to figure out what's happening in the spirit world, what's coming from where, what it's trying to do, what it's trying to accomplish, what its agenda is. And in that gift of discernment, the ability to distinguish between spirits, people experience that gift expressing itself in unique ways. For example, two common pathways that we see discernment operating in people is seeing or feeling. We call these people seers or feelers. The seers discern the spirit world by what they see with their eyes. So they can literally see with their actual physical eyeballs, superimpose onto the natural world, spiritual realities taking place in the form of visual stimulation. Feelers, on the other side of these aren't opposing spectrums. And there are actually other ways that discernment operates, but these are the two main ways that I'm aware of and experiencing with people. Feelers feel the spiritual dynamic happening around them, the nature of a spirit that's operating in a room, in an atmosphere, in a relationship, in a motive. They can feel it personally. Their emotions are taken with it. If someone's feeling scared or lusty, the person, the feeler, can feel that stuff in their own faculties. So they're feeling the fear or the lust. And they're like, where is this coming from? Why do I feel this way? Or whatever, right? Kind of messy, especially if you don't know what's happening and if you don't know how to navigate that. A third way is the knowers, which I'm just throwing the word out here at this point. It's this deeper rooted just knowledge, understanding like that's happening. I don't know how I know, I just know, right? That one's a little difficult for those people to be able to explain and build credibility because there's nothing for them to base it off of other than their own intuition. Kind of rough. So these are different ways that the gift of discernment operates in people's lives. To give you an example, I'm a feeler. It took me a long time to embrace that. For a while I wanted nothing to do with the feeler category because most feelers that I had encountered were emotional drama queens. To me, they were emotionally irresponsible. To me, they were using their gifting to shirk responsibility. I just can't know. Oh God, it's just really exhausting. Going to Walmart is so expensive. Or whatever, right? They complained a lot. And they were super overly emotional, in my opinion. I judged them a lot. And I was like, I want nothing to do with these people. They're wasting my time. They're not making any sense. They're super sensitive and to a point where it seems debilitating, right? So I had a bad taste in my mouth for a long time. When I got past my offense, past the judgment, I realized, oh, actually I am a feeler. I can feel other people's stuff. I can feel atmospheres. I can feel the energy of spiritual activity happening, and it translates here, and I don't want to have to feel that stuff, but I do. And so I feel it physically. I feel it emotionally. Sometimes I hear thoughts in my head that aren't mine. I'm like, oh, what's going on here? Or whatever, right? So for example, I went to a friend's house yesterday, and when I walked in, I immediately felt sadness. And I was like, whoa, why am I sad all of a sudden? And I realized, well, this is not me. And just out of practice and experience, I was able to recognize immediately this wasn't my feeling. I had no reason to feel this way. So there were two people on the couch who was like, whoa, it feels really sad in here. Is somebody sad? And they looked at each other and they're like, no, not in this room. And I was like, what does that mean? They're like, well, someone's sad in the other room. And I was like, really? And so we got to talk a little bit about what was happening, but the feeling in the room was sadness. How did I know that? I started getting sad. The thing is, in the spirit world, we translate the energy out here that has nothing to do with us through our soul, so we can feel what a spirit's doing by how it makes us feel emotionally, right? So I could feel sadness, but the thing is that sometimes you're feeling someone else's spirit, you're just feeling their grief or their loss or their anger or their excitement or whatever. Other times you're feeling the energy of a spirit pushing on somebody, enforcing that emotion, pushing it to an extreme place, trying to get a deeper agreement in their life. Another example was a friend of mine was playing the guitar and just sharing how excited he was about his girlfriend and these gifts that he was getting her and just planning all this stuff that he was going to do to surprise her. And he was so excited. And this guy just had a really strong influence thing going on. Like, just people were very susceptible to his emotions and what he was putting out. And so that was true. And my sensitivity, that feeler thing in me, when he was expressing his enthusiasm and his excitement about this whole thing, I actually got to the point where I was like super overwhelmed, and I actually had to stop him. And I was like, I need you to stop expressing this. I'm excited for you. That's awesome. This is overwhelming for me. This is not my emotion. It actually feels a little violating. I don't want to be taken to that place. Because it was good stuff. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't mine. You know what I mean? And it was pushing me to another place emotionally that I had no reason to go to, and I didn't want it. So I actually asked him to stop expressing himself, which thankfully he did, and we were fine and whatever. But that was back in the day before I really knew what was going on, and I was still trying to figure this stuff out. Feelers can feel other people's stuff, their emotions, their spiritual agreements. And I think that actually a lot of people operate in this gifting and they just don't realize that's what it is. It's part of our spiritual sensitivity. We just are aware of that stuff. Some people more sensitive than others. Some people actually gifted in that way. But we're giving and exchanging all the time with this energy. It's affecting the way that we choose to go about our day, who we choose to associate with, the kind of relationships we have, the way we build intimacy in those relationships, who we choose to oppose, who we choose to reject, the things that we say yes to in our lives. All that stuff is coming from the spirit world. And how it's affecting us and how we feel motivates us to either say yes and grab it or to say no and push it away. And we're making these agreements multiple times a day, every day. Everybody's doing this. So the whole point in this video is just to kind of throw that out there and just set a little bit of a precedent or a foundation for this is happening. There are feelers in the world. You might be one of them. And guess what? You're not crazy. There's not anything wrong with you. It's actually a gift that you're supposed to learn how to partner with, how to use and understand so that you can bring insight, so you can bring clarity, so you can bring safety and protection and understanding. So we're going to conclude that today. Just little bite sizes here and there. But again, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. My handle there is Mike Mayashiro. You can visit me at MikeMayashiro.com to check out anything else I've got going on. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Please feel free to throw in some comments or questions, and I'll see you guys next time. What? Don't use that.